at it again.
What's going on, man?
Shit.
We're just telling a story at the end of the day.
You can enjoy a fully clothed, totally platonic cuddle session. Not sure what we're doing.
Are these lines safe? Yeah, we can literally say anything we want.
Talk mad shit.
Please continue to follow us. You can find us on all social medias.
All social medias.
All social medias.
All podcasts.
Everywhere that you could listen to a podcast, we're pretty much there. The red light is on.
Fuck. Rolling.
Yeah, back again.
Back again.
We back.
Back at it again.
Yeah. We're never going to not be back, though. I guess I can't really say that. I mean, this is we're having so much fun, dude. I don't see this stopping.
I know, man. I will tell you this, like, I hate to say it because I love my family and I love all the things that we get to do. I get to do with my family and stuff, but I look forward to the time in the basement.
Oh, 100%.
Time in the boat.
In the basement. In the boat basement.
Yep.
The basement.
I mean, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a blast.
If you were to push the time clock forward and it was like, we had time to get a studio and shit, like, I don't know that I would. I mean, I kind of like the basement. I like the feel of the.
Yeah, it's a comfort zone now.
Yeah.
It's my happy place.
My happy place.
But
this is where I feel collected and calm.
Well, we were just having a conversation for those of you that are listening at the moment. Thanks, by the way.
You're welcome.
They answered back.
Yeah.
Jackass. But we were talking about, maybe we need to have an intro and record it. And honestly, we both fucking, dude, that's not what we do. The whole fun of this and the whole reason it is fun for us is because it's just you and I sitting down here bullshitting and telling cool stories to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think
scripted anything is going to suck.
I think the biggest definition between us is there's an asshole. I mean, I think we're both assholes.
Right.
But I'm always the hard cynic.
You're the cynic,
and there's a little bit of hope and belief still in your heart that hasn't been squeezed out.
Well, true. Like, okay, so if you really can't tell who's who, Shep is the usually the cynic, the obvious sarcastic. Eye roller.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was possible to hear an eye roll, but fuck, I was proven wrong. Yeah, you can hear him. I am Joshua, of course, and he always calls me, what is it you say? I'm the
starry-eyed dreamer.
Starry-eyed dreamer, yeah.
True believer,
the
folks.
True believer. Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
Puppies and fucking rainbows over here.
Yeah.
But what's funny about that is I'm always the one that's like, let's talk about cannibalism and fucking,
You believe, you want to believe in like the most horrible shit.
So I want to believe that
the times that
there's more out there, and so when you talk about the paranormal and the aliens and all that shit, yeah, dude, I'm the one that fucking will follow blindly, and it sounds good to me.
I'm pretty sure it's real.
But yes, I have a very curious, a curiosity about the dark side of shit. Which is kind of opposite about kind of how I carry myself. But I really enjoy listening and learning about horrible shit because I just don't understand it. And
to gain an understanding.
Yeah, and I enjoy kind of being scared and shocked. That shock value. I mean, that's why we watch fucking horror films. That's why we go to haunted houses and do stupid shit to scare ourselves.
I don't think we're that different.
No, we're not. At all.
I think that you are much more willing to suspend, reality.
Yeah.
For the ride, whereas I'm immediately like dissecting it from like
it.
5 seconds in. I'm like, no, this is coming apart at the seams. Like
now, and that's actually a really good way to put it.
You'll go along for the ride until we get to the end, and then maybe start working backwards. Whereas I'm pulling pulling the sweater apart at the fucking get.
Yeah, absolutely. I start with, all high hopes, and I'm like, this is it. This is the fucking one. This is real.
This is the one.
And you're like, nah, I got to fucking hear the spiel first before I make my decision. But, I mean, and using the term, like, skeptic isn't really fair for you because you're not really a skeptic. You're just like a skeptic if it's fucking bullshit or if it's not proven. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think mine is...
You have questions.
I think we've said this on a lot of different episodes, that idea of buyer beware. And we're not buying any of this. That's not what I'm saying. It's more of a, I'm going to come into it and I'm going to be open-minded.
Right.
But I'm going to come into it with, I'm going to have my set of questions. And before, I'm jumping on the boat.
I want answers.
Yeah,
no, that's fair.
And
so
I'm not just going to, you told me that? Oh, all right, cool, man.
I believe you, dude.
I believe you. I'm 100%.
And to be fair, we've only been doing this for, I think we just decided like 3 months-ish. Well, we've been recording, I guess, for less than 6, to be fair.
Less than 6. But we've been on podcast. Our podcast has been released for about 3 months.
Yeah. And I've known you for dick years. You know what I mean? I
was doing the math. I think you're like one of my oldest friends.
Right. Oh, for sure. But so doing this podcast with you has hardened me. It's hardened me.
Gross.
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 Yeah. As soon as I said it, I was like, hardened me. Ah, damn it.
I was gonna kind
poor
of
choice of words.
Knuckle under.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's made me more of a questioner, and I actually you've turned me into the cynic at the end of a few episodes. I've been like, no.
Well, there's been a couple. You can go back and listen if you're so inclined.
Yeah,
which
please do.
I think if you've gotten to this point, you've probably gone through some of those episodes. But it's funny, like some of the episodes you've been real excited about. You kind of come back, like you'd be like halfway through an episode, and you're like, "This is bullshit."
Oh man, this is some
it was something that you researched. So,
and I was super stoked about it, hoping that it was going to be this wicked thing, and I'm like, "That's what it is, mother." Yeah, it's true.
So,
but shit, it's fun, and here we are. And so now I'm Joshua, and that's Shep. So there it is. If you're confused,
hard sarcasm on one side of the microphone.
Yeah. Well, we're both pretty fucking sarcastic.
All right, dude, we're the same fucking person. It's really a trick of audio. It's really just one person doing the podcast.
We're throwing voices.
Yeah, we're doing a really good. I am doing a really good job of being both sides of this conversation.
We don't research for shit, and we don't know what we're doing, but we're awesome at fucking impressions.
Yeah, that is our strength.
Or I'm awesome at impressions. Yeah. I'm doing both of the fucking voices. Never mind.
Off the rails already, sir.
Fantastic.
Already off the rails.
Well, shit. Hey, you guys, thank you for listening. Please continue to do so. You can find us on all of the social medias.
All the medias.
All of them.
We have all the Twitters.
The books of faces.
The books of faces. The grams that are instant.
The twats.
The twatses.
So, based on True Events podcast on Instagram and Facebook, on Twitter, podcast BOTE, podcast BOTE.
If you're not a friend of the social medias and you stick away from that, you can always email us at the Based on True Events podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Fax us at
yeah, we don't have a fax number yet, guys. Sorry.
Fucking dial up fucking internet. Yeah. AOL. We got a few things going on. We are still doing the I Wrote for BOTE, so send us your suggestions.
Send us your shit.
That's right. We will pick our favorite, and we will send your ass a T-shirt.
And Josh is
for free.
Josh's hard on right now is the fucking field trip episode.
Yeah, you
vote.
Choose, we go. That's right. You choose one of the 4 locations, and we will do an episode there. You get to choose between the Hannah House, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, let's see, Whisper Estate, and I'm going to say the Ponderosa, but that's wrong. The Punderson Manor.
Yeah.
The Punderson Manor. So anyway, you can check it out on Instagram. I posted a photo, and so far I've already been seeing the comments, and Waverly is...
we're getting crushed on Waverly right now.
Thank fuck, because that's where we want to go, and it's probably the only one I can actually get Shep to go to. So
yeah, that's where you want to go. I wanted to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, fuck Mickey. Yeah.
Fuck Mickey.
Fuck
Mickey. Fuck Mickey in his face.
Oh, that was very aggressive.
Yeah, it was. It was meant to be.
Okay,
It was meant
fair
to be.
enough.
It was meant to be very.
So yeah, keep your comments coming, suggestions. We love it. Interactions, fucking a blast.
Yeah,
So also the Facebook group, Rock the Boat, is up, and that's really where I want to interact with people. So join us.
Okay. Yeah.
And on to the show.
And on to the show.
Yeah, that's right. You're up first, bro.
I am.
What the fuck we doing? Oh, you're doing my
Yeah.
my list.
Say this one for me.
Oh, the name?
Yeah, it's Japanese. So I'm going right back into the fucking heat with the fucking Japanese
Which,
people.
you know, it's really hilarious, and you're not the only person to do it, but because my wife is Chinese, if it's anything Asian, everybody thinks I can fucking pronounce it. I'm like, dude, it's not.
No, you have pronounced it. That's why
I
I'm
did.
asking.
But I was like, it's not a Chinese name.
Kuchisaki Ono?
Kuchisake Ona.
Ona? Yeah. Okay.
Kuchisake Ona.
Yeah, well, for the record, it's the Slit Mouthed Woman. Anybody who knows anything about this is an urban legend from Japan.
Is it an urban legend? For sure? Well, I guess you're going to fucking tell us.
Okay, well, it's okay. The research began. When you start doing the research, it says urban legend.
Fair enough.
And I'm only going to refer to it as the Slit Mouthed Woman. I'm not going to
Not going to try to pronounce
Kuchisake over and over. Kuchisake.
Kuchisake.
My fucking southern redneck twang. Okay, so this is described as Japanese urban legend. I'm going to kind of preface this a little bit before I get going. So I hate to label it a urban legend at the beginning, like for the same reason what you said right there is, is it, like, and if I've already put that in your head,
right,
that's kind of like, oh, well, what's the point? Like,
well, urban legends can be fun as hell though. So I mean,
yeah.
fuck.
So here's the spiel I will give you before we get into it. This is a figure from Japan, and its history is kind of debated, but as this is from Japan, there is a fairly limited amount of research that can be done.
In English, you mean?
Well, I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
I think it's not only just a cultural barrier, but as we go, you'll kind of see.
Okay,
what
fair
I'm
enough.
saying.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, just because it's an urban legend doesn't mean I'm any less stoked about it. Because
Right.
I enjoy a fucking spooky fucking story. Period. So
Right.
if that's all it ends up being, then cool. Let's go with it.
So the Kuchisake Ona
Gucci.
is described as a malicious spirit of a woman. She partially covers her face with a mask or another item and carries some sort of sharp object. She has been described as a contemporary ghost. Wow. I mean,
You're a contemporary ghost.
Yeah.
That's pretty vague. She covers her face with something and carries another something sharp.
Well, yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, it's
Right.
a lot of this information is fairly contested. So, the research that I was able to do on this, a lot of times it's a scissors or a broken piece of like mirror or glass.
Okay,
kind
right.
of. So I'll just paint the picture of one of the stories. So one of the more recent stories mentioned that there was this young Japanese woman, and she was wearing basically like a surgical mask.
All right.
Which I found out is not out of place in Japan.
I was going to say
it's a fairly densely populated urban areas. It is considered a courtesy to, if you have a cold, if there's any kind of sickness. If you read any newspapers these days, you'll see why.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so that's China, but yeah, in China they wear it everywhere, and it is because you're either sick and it is a common courtesy, or you don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
But also pollution.
Right.
So it's literally a health,
So it's very commonplace to see people with a surgical mask in these areas. But so the woman is described as being a very attractive from the fucking nose up.
You have a great nose.
Yeah.
Look at that fucking forehead.
Fucking beautiful.
Look at those eyebrows.
So this woman will basically approach pedestrians, I would guess, individuals, people who are not in large crowds, obviously.
Okay.
So, like, if you're walking down the street late at night, she's supposedly
By herself.
She comes up to you, and supposedly attractive from the mask up, and she'll stop you and she'll say, "Do you think I'm pretty?"
Oh.
And if you say no, then she fucking stabs you with a shard of mirror or scissors or knife or whatever sharp object she has.
Right.
Okay. If you answer yes, I think you're pretty. Then she removes her surgical mask to reveal a slit from ear to ear where her mouth is, creepy face, and says, "Even now." And if you say yes,
like an Asian female sexy Joker.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where you got sexy, but
because
sure.
she's supposed to be pretty. Or
yeah,
whatever.
she's supposed to be pretty, but that's the point. Is like she takes off the mask and then she says, "Even now."
Right.
And if you say no, then she kills you. If you say yes, then she kills you, but she cuts you from ear to ear, leaving the same scar or the same wound.
She kills you no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you say she is pretty still, then she cuts you.
Then she cuts. She leaves her calling card of the.
Oh.
This is how you would know that you were one of her victims.
So if you're like fucking honest and you're like, oh no, then you're like, you're good.
Yeah. So the
you're not good.
The opinion is
still
that
dead.
is that the fear would. Oh God, no. And then then you get killed.
Okay, right.
Or you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get out of this. Yeah, you're beautiful, and then you still get killed.
Liar.
Right. So there is some caveats to this. One of them being that if you can confuse her by saying you're moderately pretty or something along those lines. Yeah, you're like you're okay. If you basically you're like
5.6.
You're like you're like you're doing okay. You got some work to do, but you're doing okay.
That confuses
if you confuse her, then you have time to run. I don't know how running is supposed to get you away from a poltergeist.
Yeah.
Or you can throw money or candy at her.
Money or candy?
At the spirit, and that's supposed to distract the creature long enough.
Asian myths are so strange.
Is
or
it,
Asian
is
stories.
It
Asian stories.
No.
No.
Is it a legend? Is it myth? Is it a poltergeist?
Well, I've got a theory because I've heard something, but I'm going to wait till you do.
So, apparently, in some of the oldest tellings of this story, she was supposed to be the wife or concubine of a great samurai whose beauty was unparalleled. And she became the object of desire for another rival samurai.
Oh, shit.
Or the emperor.
Oh, shit.
And when she were to lay, as a man and woman would lay, when she got boned by the emperor or the other samurai, the great samurai became angered and sliced her with his samurai sword from ear to ear.
Wow.
And the vengeful spirit that came out and now haunts Japan is the spirit that we see currently.
That was my theory. I had heard some story, but I didn't know about the emperor part. No.
Yeah. Okay. So you
boning.
So the boning, the hardcore hip hugging boning, dropping it like a samurai.
Oh God.
Yeah. Gonna lay your steel.
Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah. All right. So.
All
right. So you fast forward. So the
please fast forward.
The Edo era or period of Japan is where this story is supposed to kind of originate. It's I don't fucking know.
Right.
but it really kind of got traction again in the late 70s. And there were stories.
When did it start? Did they ever say? Did you already say? And I didn't hear.
That's the Edo period or whatever I was
yeah,
saying.
okay, but I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I fucking don't either.
Well, so if it came back in the 70s, then obviously that's fair. That's all I need to know, really. I just want to make sure you didn't say it.
No, I didn't. So it basically feudal Japan. Okay, roughly 800 to 1100 years ago.
God damn. Yeah, right.
Okay, so at least this horror trope, this spirit, this poltergeist, its origins are 800 to 1,000 years old.
Okay.
In Japan.
She old as hell.
Yeah, old as hell.
So she came back in the 70s.
In the 70s. Okay, so there's a story of how this spirit came back in the 70s.
Wow.
Okay. Apparently there were a couple kids walking to school, and a woman tried to abduct them. And during this abduction attempt, the kids got away and took off running. The lady ran after them into a busy street. The would-be abductor was struck by a motorist in the chasing attempt. And in the injury that she endured, along with blunt trauma, was a mouth injury that was supposed to mimic.
Oh, so the abductee was a lady that was chasing the kids.
Yeah, trying to take the kids, and then while she was trying to abduct the children, she was hit by a car, and in the car, the slit happened, and therefore awoke the evil spirit yet again.
Ah, dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Why is she not killing like motorists, like people fucking speeding and shit?
Well, I mean, kids are easy targets, I guess. I mean, listen to the Charlie Chop-Off episode.
Oh, Jesus. Well, so, fuck you, Andy.
Fuck you, Andy.
Did you,
Awesome.
Does she mainly go after kids, or is it anyone that's solo?
It's anyone.
All right,
solo.
yeah.
She's picking off basically
easy targets.
prey.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. So here's where we go from the legend,
all right,
to contemporary ghost mythos.
Okay.
She has counterparts in other parts of the world, namely one that's very popular in the United States, Bloody Mary.
Yeah. Okay. No shit.
Yeah. So she's contemporary in the United States as being kind of a Bloody Mary knockoff, or Bloody Mary's a knockoff of her.
You ain't scary. You just a fucking copycat.
Yeah. Well, so
Interesting.
So there's also,
but it is like that level of in Japan, from what I understood, and what grabbed my attention was that it is like everybody knows about Bloody Mary. There, everyone knows about the fucking slit-faced lady.
Yes. Okay.
Coochie,
and
whatever.
And actually, in popular culture, there's Miike, who did Ichi the Killer, which is a Japanese film.
Love.
Yeah,
fucking Miike.
He's fucking great. But in Ichi the Killer, there's a character that's there's a slit, and his mouth opens up like, the slit face.
That movie is so fucking wild.
Slit Mouthed Woman. There is a conversation that the original Joker from Batman was based on the Slit Mouthed Woman.
Yeah.
And then there's actually the ode to that is Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series,
which was phenomenal.
So it is a very popular kind of urban legend, as I said before.
Yeah.
Now here's where I get shitty about it. And I don't know if this is just because of the difference between foreign press or whatever. In all the research that I did, they talk a lot of fucking stuff about this is how it's going to kill you, and this is this, and this is that.
Right.
It reads like the Boogeyman.
Yeah, right.
Okay, not only does it read like the Boogeyman, there's also the problem of and I actually dug deep into this one.
Sweet.
I
didn't know if there would be much there.
There's no victims.
Right.
Like, at least, like, certain, like, poltergeist, like when it comes to, like, exorcisms, like, there's a name, like, there's a person, like, the Bell Witch had a family that it was chasing. Like,
right.
There's named people. Like, and I understand, like, you don't want to name children.
There's
Nothing is concrete attributed to this legend, this myth.
Straight creepypasta.
Yeah, it is very it is the original creepypasta.
Right on
story.
Yeah, okay.
Now,
which is awesome.
I mean, yeah, it is awesome. But here's where I get on my soapbox for a moment.
All right.
The point of this is, I'm just gonna go the fucking misogynistic style of Japan, even to this day. The female is very subservient. The idea that a woman could have any power is immediately demonized. Think about the way that you distract her. You throw money or candy.
That's so fucked up, dude. It's horrible.
And honestly, you can look at any culture that really kind of demonizes the female as being less than the male,
weaker, right?
And the only way that they have power is as a demon, or as a ghost, or a poltergeist, like Bloody Mary,
something like unhuman.
Yeah, unhuman.
Right.
Like, we still kind of like Bloody Mary's still kind of like a thing, I guess. Like, if you're a little kid.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
But
I did the whole.
But like,
Bloody
they're
Mary
still making movies about the Slit Mouthed Woman,
right?
You know, and I think that's really more of an indictment of the culture that it kind of comes from, and you know, even like the story, like the backstory, like reading the backstory, is, you know, the samurai cuts her face, and she's so pissed off.
Instead of killing the fucking dude that she was sleeping with.
Even if it's like the emperor, like, you know, there's like,
yeah,
the guy doesn't become a vengeful ghost,
right?
You know, the emperor doesn't haunt Japan. It's this scorned woman, and like, I feel like that it's just another fucking rung in the belt of the male dominated society, where it's like, you will know your place, woman.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll say about that is that, in my opinion, and of course, and I'm not going to keep bringing up the fact that I spent time in China, and Japan is not China, but dude, we're fucking babies compared to the length of time that their cultures have been around.
Oh yeah.
So there's still equality. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But they've got. It's not equal, no, but at all. We're trying to make steps in the right direction in America, but I'm not going to get in that fucking tangent. Women still get fucking treated like shit here. But I think that you will find more stories of misogyny in an Asian culture because they've been around longer, and that's just the way it fucking used to be. It used to be like that in America too, which is fucking ridiculous. But
so here's an interesting story.
It's kind of still like that, but you know.
A friend of my mom's, they moved to Japan. She is
sweet.
The wife is Japanese. The husband is actually from India. They lived in the United States for.
They treat women great in India.
Yeah, they lived in the United States for quite a few years. She ended up getting a job offer she couldn't refuse. Couldn't refuse. And they moved to Japan. Well, their daughter, who is probably 5, incurred a serious medical problem while in Japan. Shit. The daughter did not come out of the hospital for 3 months.
God damn.
In 3 months, the father was never allowed to stay overnight at the hospital. It is the culture in Japan says that the woman is the nurturer, the man should be out making the money
to pay for the fucking hospital
bill. Pay for the hospital bill. It's so fucking ingrained. Your 5-year-old child is fighting for her life in the hospital, and the father cannot stay and see, cannot do
Fuck that.
I spent 4 days in the hospital with my son,
Oh, dude.
and dude, they would have had to put me in fucking prison to get me out of the hospital.
100%.
Like,
100%.
Like, I'm gonna burn this motherfucker to the ground.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so fucked up.
So I tell that story to kind of put perspective on it. In Japan, we look at Japan as being highly technologically advanced in in a lot of areas, socially advanced. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the United States is a great barometer of, cultural awareness by any means.
Right.
But the argument is, like, a lot about a culture by the horror stories that it tells.
Yeah, interesting.
So this is a very ingrained folklore urban legend. The evil woman spirit is going to come kill you because you don't tell her she's pretty.
Because you don't tell her she's pretty and give her money or candy. Yeah,
you got to give her money and candy.
That's so
okay.
fucked up.
Like, there's I think there's people who've written whole books about it is what you're scared of as a culture is like the horror stories that you tell reflect that.
Bro, that makes sense.
And the thing about War of the Worlds, it came out, that was written in the time when we were, super worried that, we were going to be invaded.
Yeah.
And it wasn't aliens that most people were afraid of. They were afraid of the Ruskies or,
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I find
that's interesting. That makes total sense to me, though.
It is culturally divided. So the things that we might have similar horror stories,
right,
between one culture to the other, but it's the nuance of that horror story that speaks to the people. And the reason it speaks to the people is because it's ingrained in the psychology that you grow up with.
Right.
The
Yeah.
The horror stories that we tell each other here, like the boogeyman, blah 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 blah. Think about if you turn on a Dateline or a fucking anything these days,
the motherfucker's real.
Yeah, well, the boogeyman is the creepy motherfucker who's going to steal your kid.
Yeah,
you
for
know what
sure.
I'm saying?
That
is. I mean, think about our slasher flicks, our horror flicks in the United States are all about the guy who can walk at one pace and still always catches.
You can
the
never
fucking
get
girl.
away. Right.
Still always he's always there. He's never. You can't fucking kill him. You can't fucking get rid of him. It's the idea that this fucking horrible menace is right around every fucking corner, and that's projected by our media.
Oh yeah.
So that's our culture.
That is. Yeah, yeah.
And you go and look at any other culture, and they're scary stories, they're ghost stories, they're horror stories. It really is based on who's in a seat of power and what scares that seat of power.
Well, yeah, totally.
So,
well, that's interesting. I never even fucking thought about that.
So,
but I mean, that makes sense why her character, I hate to say character, but why the story or her tale, it's a character, right?
It's a character.
It is what it is. Because
we're selling movies on it now. Let's go ahead and fucking call it.
Is there a Slit Mouthed Woman movie actually
I think I would have. Oh yeah,
being made or
there's stuff out there that's IMDb and shit. Yeah.
Oh, it's already made. Okay.
Yeah. It's called. I think
they must have been.
I think it's called Carved 1 and 2.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Though I think those are supposed to be the slit face.
All right.
But I mean, even Ichi the Killer.
Well, there's reference to for sure.
Yeah.
Which fucking God, that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
It's not my favorite. Dude, 13 Assassins way better.
Okay, yes, fair enough. Completely different type of film, though.
It is, but I mean,
Itchy is one of the wildest rides that I've ever taken. Dude.
It is a wild ride. It is off the rails, brutal from the beginning,
and ridiculous and over the top in every sense. But that's fucking Takashi Miike.
Yeah,
which is God, dude, I fucking love his films.
Yeah,
13 Assassins, by the way. Holy shit,
it's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, I could do fucking a whole episode on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's the point that I guess I'm trying to make. It is 100%. Like if I'd have been able to find one case where they're like, there was a kid or a person with the smiley face, like attributed, like a murder, like attributed to this
one actual event that happened. One victim or whatever.
Like one victim, like one case, like one thing. Like the only thing that was this lady that was trying to like abduct the kids and got hit by the car kind of thing. And
so that was true?
Supposedly true.
Right.
That was like the only thing. That was like
interesting.
That was like the only, like, because I mean, even with our like urban legends and horror, like there's a fucking
something. Well, look at let's go back to Slender Man. Fuck, dude, like there's no real true victims in the story. When someone tells Slender Man, like nobody came up and said I was attacked or I got whatever by Slender Man,
because it's all horseshit.
Because it's horseshit. But there was the story of the girls that took it too far and did that shit.
Right.
So I thought maybe that would be the kind of way that this would go, like somebody was a copycat and actually took it too far, or something like that. So there wasn't shit.
Not that I found. I mean, it could have been out there, but I mean, nothing that is directly attributed to this specter.
Wow. Well, there's a bunch of cool artwork created and shit. I say cool, but so it sounds like it is.
You can say cool. It's not. It is literally an urban legend.
100% fake. Okay, got it.
Like I mean, and if I'm wrong, great. Show tell me
know,
where's the story? Yeah,
where's
where's the story? Like I mean I looked for every documentary is like it does the same thing. It tells a story like I told it, like where this is the origin and this is what happens and this, but it's never like two kids were walking home from school and one of them got his face cut open, or like how do we know that throwing the fucking money in the candy does anything? Like how do we know it asks you questions?
Yeah,
like
who wrote the fucking story? Who's the originator?
Right.
So I thought that I had seemed to remember in my mind the way this was going or the story went was simply it's kind of more, it's way more badass, but there was a woman who basically got abducted by a man or something, and he was torturing her and whatever. And before he killed her, he slit her mouth, and she died, and she came back, but she was only after revenge, and she would only go after fucking sexist prick men. That's for some reason that I remembered.
This is the evil, the evil woman,
right?
Here to take your children.
Them evil women.
Here to take your family.
Yeah.
If you don't throw money at it and tell it it's pretty,
oh Lord,
she's gonna kill everybody and leave a smiley face in behind it.
Oh, it's so sexist. It's awful.
Yeah, dude, it really is.
Fucking,
like
I liked my version in my head better. That's why I was gonna be like, I love a fucking revenge, story.
Yeah, there's no revenge, man.
There's not. God damn.
Lock up your kids. Lock up your family.
Yeah. Well, so in that case, then it sounds like it's one of those, the internet doing what the internet does best.
What it does, man. It runs.
It runs.
But I mean, I think this actually started. This is pre-internet, in the late 70s.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
And then before that, like I think it's an urban legend. But I mean, I do think for anybody out there listening to this, if you want to really examine how forward-thinking the culture that is around you is, or how much they evolved they are, look at the horror stories that they tell their children and their families. Look at the bad guys. Look at their scary stories. Look at their ghost stories, because that's going to tell you a lot about where they are.
Yeah, stranger danger. Don't talk to strangers. The boogeyman will get you.
Right. Yeah, man.
Because in America, we have a huge fear of child abduction, and
right.
Which it's valid. I mean, I understand why, being a parent now. I understand a fear that I never felt before. Okay. I haven't luckily experienced that. You know what I mean? But
so you want to hear? This is kind of I mean, since we're on this subject, I think I'll go down this road. So, like the Bloody Mary, your Candyman,
right?
Even Beetlejuice. Do you know where that the saying the name comes from? Say it 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, you know where that comes from.
Nope.
Ooh, it's Old Testament. Ba-boom.
No shit.
Yeah. So okay.
Wait. What? Okay. Do tell. Well, I
So
feel like I should
the
know
Old
this.
Testament, like, I'm not going to go into deep theological.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ didn't show up in the Old Testament, buddy.
I know he didn't.
So anyway, the Old Testament, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Was the name of God.
The name of God, yeah.
And the reason that we got away from saying Yahweh is because if you know something's name, you have power over it. To invoke its name means that you can control it. And or at least have a certain level of power over it. That's why we have the Old Testament, the commandment, thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain.
God damn it.
So
I do it all the time too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Fuck.
So, you just said God damn it. You didn't invoke a name.
Yahweh, damn it.
Yeah. So, I'm staying away from you, buddy. But the idea that the Candyman, your Bloody Mary, even your Beetlejuice, is the idea that you're unleashing the spirit and it comes back to bite you every time.
Comes back to get you.
And
Interesting.
So that's where you get that. That's why. And there's to deny that's New Testament. To deny 3 times is very biblical from the story of Jesus.
Story of Jesus.
He was denied 3 times.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's where you get. That's where the number 3 and the name, like that's why that.
See, like we said before, dude, that's a good ass book.
I mean, they call it the good book.
It's a good ass book.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where we get
fucking
some
cool
of these,
fact of the day.
That's where that stuff comes from.
Wow. Well, and it's all as long as it doesn't go too far, like the fucking Crazy Girls and Slender Man. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But as an adult, as a child, I remember being at my buddy's house and fucking being scared to death to do the fucking Bloody Mary, fucking dare. I was like, Jesus, what's gonna fucking happen? Now I'm like, that's fucking fun, But so the Slit Mouthed Woman's kind of a lame fucking urban legend. Don't walk by yourself, and if you see a lady with a fucking mask on and she approaches you,
which is like everyone in Japan apparently.
Yeah. God, I'm never gonna get laid. I can't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
I can't talk to any of the chicks.
So if she's attractive from the mask up,
if she got a pretty nose, do not avoid.
But I think I probably took this down a very soapboxy.
Yeah, it took that turn, but that's all right. It's good conversation because
I feel like you
brought some interesting points up.
I don't like giving this justice because of that. Like knowing the root of this legend is in keeping a woman in her place. Like I don't like that as an idea.
No,
and so I'm not going to glorify it, I guess. And
I like that. I'm on board with that. Yeah, see, I never even thought about that that side of things. Because this is
you fucking pig.
You fucking
pig.
I tell you.
But no, I mean, the only reason I kind of say it that way is because, I feel like, there are a lot of good horror stories out of there, out of Japan.
Oh yeah,
you don't need to
the
venerate
the sexist lady who can.
Yeah. Give me money.
Yeah.
Give me money and tell me I'm pretty.
And candy. Yeah, well, Jesus. If you didn't know who Shep was before this fucking episode, I'm the one that's like, it's a cool ass story, and you're like fucking sexist, fucking nonsense. I'm like, God damn it.
But I think that is like what we were talking about at the beginning of this. This is where I start picking things apart. Like at the beginning,
which is what I do love about that about you.
Is like, all right, we're telling the story. Like, okay, like show me a victim. All right, you show me a victim, I'm going to start digging into the victim. Like, all right, like if there had been any dead bodies, I hate to say it that way,
we would have had a body count. Yeah,
if there was a body count, I'm going to pay this the respect that it deserves.
Yeah,
let's dig into the story. Let's see where it comes from. Okay, these are your fucking potential suspects.
Yeah,
or this is the reason that this is going. But if it's just. If it's misogyny just to be misogynistic.
Just to be. Yeah. Well, and you know,
and you ingrain that in children's head that
yeah,
women
well,
are even evil.
subconsciously,
Yeah.
100%, yeah. Well, fuck, Debbie Downer.
Sorry, man.
No, dude, you know, it's crazy though, because when I gave you this story, it was literally, I saw a cool ass pic, Slit Mouthed Woman or whatever it was, and I had thought that I had heard the story of the one that I told you about, the, you know, revenge, and I was like, cool, this might be kind of fun, because I assumed it was based on a fucking actual person or something.
But there are a lot of different avenues that the slit mouth thing goes down,
right?
But the most common kind of story parallel in this is "Tell me I'm pretty."
Tell me I'm pretty.
If you can confuse the simple-minded,
shit, I forgot about that part of it. If you can confuse her,
yeah.
Oh Jesus,
you got to make her vie for your attention a little bit.
When you fucking break it down, it's like this is awful. It's
so
fucking
bad.
awful.
It's so fucking bad.
Jesus, and I'm not laughing at I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of it.
So
and it is 100%. For people, you know, kids or whatever who know this story on a subconscious level,
yeah,
it's really fucked up and ass backwards, man.
Yeah. So I'd like to recap
the
podcast as a whole.
Joshua is not
this episode.
a fucking sexist pig.
Not this episode. Okay.
Okay.
Our podcast
as a whole.
You've sent me down.
Oh shit!
Cannibalism in World War II,
which you loved that ride.
I did like that ride.
Yeah.
But I have had to, I don't feel unjustifiably.
Fired.
I don't feel unjustified in some of the things that I've said.
No.
About some of these Japanese stories and some things like that. And this one is just another one where
so I'm
bashing on the culture of Japan.
You were doing a recap. So, yeah, they did what they did in World War, II. So you were just telling the fucking story. You weren't really bashing anybody. You were fucking telling it like it was. The suicide forest. Yeah, sorry about that one. I can't say sorry enough about that one. But you were just telling a fucking story. You weren't really bashing anything.
Yeah.
This is really the only time you've been like, Japan, like you fucked up on this one.
Yeah,
like you're fucking wrong for this one.
Well, and the fact that it's
rightfully so, mind you. Like, I'm backing you on this.
That it's still going on, and really
true.
like hats off to like Mike for casting the slit mouth as a dude.
Yeah.
Right. Like I guess at least some part of me feels like that is showing progress. And,
yeah, there you go.
And the idea that this classic trope can be
younger generations in China, at least, and I'm assuming Japan as well, are attempting to make strides.
Yeah.
But they got that's what I was kind of getting into. Like they got a fucking long way to overturn a fucking shitload of messed up history.
Yeah.
For sure. Like we're Americans, we're fucking babies. How long have we been here? And we fucked it up like
20
quick.
minutes. Yeah.
Quick.
Well, all right. So we as Americans get a really a bad rap, and justifiably. We've done a lot of horrible shit, but you do have to realize that we are a country that was established by a bunch of pricks from Europe. It wasn't like we were a culture. Native Americans were a culture, and they were pretty.
We're a fucking melting pot, dude.
Well, yeah, but the Native Americans were pretty low key. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like when the Europeans got
Leave
over
us
here.
the fuck alone.
When the Europeans got over here, they were like, "Okay, dude, we're doing slavery.
Yeah. Check.
We're doing mass slaughter.
Check.
We're doing viral warfare. We're doing
we're fucking shit up.
Yeah, we're taking over everything. Fuck everybody else. So, for the fact that is kind of our roots.
Yeah, you're right.
The 200 years.
Yeah, we've done all right
of trying to correct a lot of things.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't even say 200 years, man. I would say 50 years.
50
years we've you got
we're
Lincoln,
moving in the right direction.
You got Lincoln with this, with the Emancipation Proclamation and trying to free slaves. that was kind of like a really big step in the right direction.
Fuck yeah.
And then there was like a lull, like he got killed, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, just shut the fuck up for a while.
Fuck.
Just shut the fuck up." And then like
women's rights,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake.
well, you guys get to vote. We'll give you the vote.
Congratulations.
And actually, I mean,
it doesn't matter who you vote for because we're gonna fucking choose anyway.
yeah, and like every civil rights leader of the fucking 50s and 60s was murdered.
Yeah,
like,
right.
So I mean, we're not really there, but we're trying.
Right. That's a good point. In a short amount of time, we've done all right.
Yeah. So
compared to what we were, I guess.
If you believe in Japan, you believe in China, man, they can turn that shit around too.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, I've seen it happen just with the air quality alone. We're not going to get into all that, but I mean, they are attempting to, at least in China, I'll speak for. But dude, they got so fucking far to go still.
Yeah.
Especially with shithole stories like this one. God damn.
Yeah. I mean,
well, hey, shit. I gave you another winner.
Well, there's no real way to paint that one in a pretty light. Like I could have left it as like, ooh, cool ghost story.
Cool ghost story.
But I'm like, no, dude. Like the real nuts and bolts of this story is keeping women in their place in Japan. And I mean that's really where this
stop
story,
that shit, Japan.
Yeah, that's really where this story where you got to leave this one on.
That's
the
what we'll wrap
floor.
it up at. Yeah. All right. All
So,
right. Well,
what am I doing next, man?
I don't know, man.
Am I doing a suggestion?
Well, we were going to do a couple of back-to-back suggestions, which we don't have to choose that one now. I technically only have one left on my list, but I don't want to give that one to you now.
Okay, fuck you.
It's not from Japan, I swear to God. It's not even Asian.
Okay.
So you'll be all right with it. But it's
I'll do it.
It's pretty dark. So let's do a suggestion.
I'll do a suggestion.
Do you have one that you already like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do Holmes. I'm going to do H.H. Holmes.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
heavy hitter.
Yeah, I'm going to do heavy hitter.
Okay, so what we're going to do...
I mean, none of the suggestions that we've gotten is a walk in the park. Like, every one of them are, like, heavy hitters or, like, really dark stories.
Or really dark.
So,
yeah
I'm going to come in swinging with Holmes.
Yeah. By the way, my boy Brian, dude, I have not forgot your fucking episode. You gave me that suggestion a long time ago, and it's just, I got to work my way up to it, dude. It's a fucking downer. So, just shout out to you, bud. I didn't forget about you. Oh,
but yeah, so I'll do H.H.
Holmes. That's
next,
cool. Good.
Next.
That's a big one. That's a good one.
I feel like us here in the basement could use another story out of Chicagoland area.
Dude, we've had a lot of I guess there's just a lot of shit stories in Chicago, but we've told a fucking shit ton of them.
Yeah, man. And there's a lot more out there too. That's like because Gacy's out of Chicago.
Is he really?
Out of Illinois? Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, dude. Like there's a lot of traction.
Maybe we just do a fucking episode Chicago.
What the fuck, Chicago?
The fuck, Chicago? That's it. We Portland, you're all good. That ended up being a dope ass episode. We want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicago. Actually, I go to Chicago. I fucking love Chicago, but yeah, you got some fucked up shit. You got one of the fucking Ripper crew members just walking around.
Just hanging out, man. He's getting coffee at Starbucks next to a bunch of you.
A bunch of yous.
Chicagites? Did we ever
Chicagites, I think.
Chicagonians?
Chicago. I don't know. Fuck.
Who gives a shit?
People who live in Chicago.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, it ended up being a cool story. You flipped the script on it, and you do what you always do. You made a good story out of something that I didn't think you were going to go that direction. So kudos, man.
I mean, sorry.
No, it was good. No need to apologize.
Okay.
Shape up, Japan.
Shape it up, man.
Shape it up. All right. Good shit, man.
All right. Later, bro.